What is up, everybody? It's CJ Plays here, and I'm back with another Rockwood Island renovation video. So the house that we're going to be renovating today is called the Rose House. It is a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom home, and this house is also like 3 stories. This is a big house, y'all. So it took me like a really long time to finish it, but I'm loving the way that it turned out. So I knew from the moment that I saw this house from the outside, I was like, this has to be a house for an imaginary friend, because the house kind of gives off like a Victorian style, and it just kind of looks like to me like a dollhouse or something like that, like a Victorian dollhouse. So I was like, this has definitely got to be for an imaginary friend. But then the idea went from imaginary friend to like imaginary friend family or like household. So there's a mom, a dad, and they have 3 children. The 2 oldest are teenagers and they're about to go to university really soon, and then they have a toddler. Yeah, so in my brain I'm like, the dad probably met the mom like in a chat room or something like that, or like an online dating website for occult sims. It kind of makes sense that this house is in this neighborhood because the house across the street is the house that has the vampires, you know. And then I want to do the one beside this house for some more occults. I'm thinking about like which ones I want to do, maybe like occult roommates or something like that. So I think this kind of makes sense that this whole entire like house is in the, I don't want to say the occult section of the world, but kind of like, you know, in a little neighborhood with other occult sims. Now, I was trying my best, y'all, to use a lot of items that I, 1, don't normally ever use, and 2, I was trying to use items that kind of gave off a dollhouse vibe or like an aesthetic. I kind of wanted this house to be like a life-size dollhouse, if that makes sense. So I was trying to like use like these big chunky chairs. These are from that 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff pack. I kind of wanted to use those in here. The first room that we're furnishing, by the way, is the dining room. So we have like a little dining room off to the side. So I wanted to like use a lot of items that are, 1, kind of like oversized or kind of like chunky looking stuff that looks like it could be in a real life or like a, you know, a dollhouse. So we're moving on now to the living room. So I knew I wanted to use these chairs from the Showtime expansion pack. It was either going to be between these or the big chunky ones from the mid-century set, but I was like, no, we got to use these chairs from Showtime. I don't really know if I've ever really used these for, well, I've used them before, but I don't really use them that often. So now I'm trying to map out a little section for a kitchen. I kind of went with the more like angled kitchen this time around, which I never really ever do. Like, honestly, y'all, this whole entire build is just new things for me. So I'm going now putting some of this brick wallpaper to kind of have like a little accent wall. It took me a while to furnish the kitchen, admittedly. I used the Cloud 9 countertops in here, and I changed the color of the countertops, the top of the counter. I changed the color of the stove a lot. I had to keep pausing my recording a lot to kind of like undo and redo and play around with the color scheme. So what I went with was a blue and white color scheme. So that's kind of like the vibe for most of the house. It's like a blue, and it's kind of like a greenish kind of color. So I kind of like went with that for the entirety of the house, as you can probably already tell. I used the fridge and the stove from the Supernatural pack, and then I think I ended up making both of those white with like some darker accents. And then I was trying to figure out what cabinets to use with this set, because like I always say, a lot of the countertops in The Sims 3 don't really have upper cabinets, so I ended up using some open shelving instead of using like countertops and stuff. Oh, and I also used these chairs. So okay, the chairs come from Showtime, which honestly Showtime kind of came in clutch today. Like, I'm gonna be honest, y'all, Showtime is not my favorite expansion pack for The Sims 3. I think it's my least favorite, I would say, but the Bill and Buy actually came in clutch today, so yeah. So I ended up using like these like chairs with little stands at the bottom. The table is from, I think it's like from one of the Atomic Future sets on the Sims 3 store. I also tried to use like some more clutter in here, so I used some shelves from Generations. If you don't know, these are some really good shelves, y'all. Like, if you have the Generations pack and you need like a good shelf for something in your sim build, get this shelf. It's really good. So I was trying my best to kind of clutter it up. I put some bags of flour. I ended up putting like a little piggy bank on it. I found this light fixture. I cannot remember what set. Maybe it's the Drifter's Desire set. I can't remember what set it comes with though, but I ended up using it over the table. And then I was trying to find a fireplace, and it took me a while. I almost used the one from the Master Suite stuff pack, but I was like, no. Let's use that big looking one. It's like from one of the mid-century sets on the Sims 3 store. I was like, why don't we just use this one instead? And it kind of like has, it kind of looks big and chunky like you would see it in Dollhouse. So I was like, we have to use it. I ended up making it into a yellow color scheme. It really took me a long time for this room in particular, because I was trying to like match the colors and not make them too tacky looking, but I kind of want, like, I kind of struggled with making this house look super tacky, but also kind of tasteful, but also kind of on theme. It was a lot. It was a whole lot, y'all. So I feel like the bedrooms have more of that tacky, imaginary friend, dollhouse kind of vibe, and maybe like the other parts of the house are kind of a little bit more toned down. Like, for example, I wanted to like use this really weird looking bookshelf, and I was like, what color do I need to make it? I was like, maybe it could just be a green, but then I was like, no, maybe it can be purple. So I ended up like making it into a purple, and I really like the way it looks. I never use it. I think it's also from that like futuristic mid-century set or whatever. And then I wanted to like use this little nook space in the back to put a computer desk. So originally I used the one from Into the Future, but I ended up deleting it and using the table from the 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff back again. I also wanted to have a TV in here somewhere, so I squeezed a little one from Generations. And yeah, this is just me now like swapping everything around. You know, I kind of wanted to like have this table kind of match the dining room. So now we move on to the first bedroom. Now, originally this was going to be the primary bedroom for the parents, but then I was like, maybe not. Like, I don't know if I want their room to be downstairs. So I decided to make this one into a spare room or like a guest bedroom. So I ended up using the Woohoo bed from the high-end loft stuff pack. And honestly, y'all, I don't really hate it in this room. So I also paired it up with this little like wibbly wobbly dresser. It comes from the Spyglass set on the Sims 3 store. And I kind of thought like the room looked kind of nice. It took me a while to kind of figure out what kind of color scheme I wanted to go for, but I went with the like purpley bluish kind of color in here. I really wanted this room to kind of blend in with the surrounding area, you know? I don't know, I just really like the way that this room turned out. I don't think it's horrible. It's kind of tacky, but yeah, I think like if you can get past the first room, then you can get past the other rooms in the house, because the second room that we're going to be furnishing is the primary room for the parents. Now, this is where things get really, really bad, y'all. So I ended up using the race car bed. It's from one of the sports sets on the Sims 3 store. I don't ever use this bed for anything. So I knew that I wanted to use it today. I ended up making the bathroom a little bit smaller just so I could fit the double bed in the center. I changed the color scheme a lot in this room. So at first you can see I have like this quilted nursery print on the wall, but then I ended up changing it. I think I went with a like space theme, but I think I went with like a green or teal color. I also recolored the bed to be like a yellow color. I put a palm tree in the corner. I also ended up using the little record rug from the Fast Lane stuff pack, and then I went with the spider web design for the bed. Like, y'all, there I did this challenge one time on my channel where I like randomized every color in the game and I built the house. Of gives off this vibe. Like, honestly, if you didn't know any better, you could say that I randomized every color in here, but I didn't. I actually picked everything. So, kind of looks rough. But I don't mind this room. Now, this room also has an ensuite bathroom, so I ended up, like, redrawing out the wall, because as you can see, it's at a little angle, so I ended up, like, making it straight, and I ended up putting, like, a little bathroom here, but this is just me now, kind of, like, putting stuff. So I ended up using one of the dressers. I think it's from, like, one of the teens bedroom sets on the Sims 3 store. The mirror, I believe, comes with the Showtime pack. I used a little university poster. I used a little plant. I was gonna put that little hanging chair in here, but I was like, maybe that's a little bit too much. And then this is around the time when I had to like basically redraw the wall anyway. For like the ensuite bathroom, I went with a like pink cloud design in here. Like, I don't know, be honest, y'all, would you want to stay in this house? Like, I feel like if this house was a museum or like an attraction or something like that, then I would want to go. Maybe like you can pay to spend a night, but I don't know if I would want to stay here, honestly. Like, too many colors, too many patterns. It's just too much for me. But yeah, so for the ensuite, I went with like a purpley cloud color scheme. I used like some purple and white tile. I ended up using some more of those Cloud 9 countertops in here as well. I ended up using like this really cool mirror. It's from one of the like mid-century sets on the Sims 3 store, and I thought it fit perfectly in here, especially like with all the different colors and shapes and stuff. And then I ended up putting like a little plant. I think that's the one from the Master Suite stuff pack. I ended up using a little angled shower in here, and then I also like kept that little wall to kind of divide the toilet from the shower. The toilet, I think, comes from the Bayside set, I believe. Now, the next room that we're going to be furnishing is the nursery. So this is like where the youngest member of the family sleeps. So I went with a like bluish cloud color. I feel like I ended up using a lot of the same patterns and different colors in this house. I used this cloud design like 3 times, I think. But for this room, I went with a like blue pink color scheme in here. I ended up using the Ambitions dresser. I feel like every time I use that dresser is always in a nursery. I never use it otherwise. And to me, it just kind of gives off like a nursery vibe. That's why I always use it, and I think it looks nice in here. So I used the crib from one of the, I think it's from like the Lullaby set, the nursery set, something like that on the store. I also ended up using some of these rugs from Generations. I put a plant up. I found like that little backpack like rack object. I think it's from Seasons, I want to say. So I used that in here. I put some butterflies in here as well. And then for the little nook space in the corner, I put a rocking chair, and I ended up using the lamp from the base game, which actually I love using that lamp for nurseries because it just kind of gives off like a baby vibe to me, or like maybe a mid-century kind of vibe. So I always use it for my nurseries. Actually, I think the nursery is really cute. And then like for most of the rooms in the house, as you can see, I ended up using like this little like light from the Generations pack. I think that's like pretty much in all the bedrooms. Now moving on, this is the other bedroom. So this is like for one of the teens. This is the teen's son. He just low-key wants to move out. Like, you know, he doesn't mind being at home, but he's excited for college, and he's excited to kind of like go and experience life. So yeah, he's just kind of like biding his time. So for his room, it took me a while to figure out the color scheme. So you'll see that I'm using like a yellow and black color scheme in here for a while, but then I ended up changing it to be more like Halloweeny because I feel like the black and yellow, it was cute, but I wanted more color in here. So I ended up going for a orange, and I think it's purple that I used, orange and purple. There's this Halloween print. I don't know if it's from the base game or from an expansion pack, but I ended up using that on the bed, and I was kind of inspired by it. So everything in here is kind of Halloweeny. Now that I think about it, this sim probably is really into Halloween. Like, honestly. I ended up using like a little poster, one from University, one with the wolves on it. I think that one comes from Pets, I want to say. And then I ended up using like a little spider web mirror in here. That mirror comes from the Sims 3 store. I think it's free, by the way. And then I ended up putting like the little science rug from the University pack. I feel like he probably will major in science or something like that when he goes to university. I can definitely see him doing that. But that's pretty much it for his bedroom. Now, there is like a small bathroom right beside his room. So it was a little bit bigger at first, but I did make it smaller like I said earlier. So I just squeezed a shower and a toilet, and I kind of went with a blue and golden, or like a blue and yellow kind of color scheme in here. The bathroom isn't as vibrant as like some of the other ones though. Now, I literally did not know at first that this house was 3 stories. So when I scrolled up, I was like, whoa, there's like even more to furnish. So I tackled the bathroom first. So I feel like the sister, or like the other teenage sim, I feel like she lives up here. So she kind of has this like whole section to herself. I think she's the oldest, okay? Like they're twins, but she's the oldest. So she has like the whole floor to herself, basically, you know? So I gave her her own private bathroom. It also follows a blue and like purpley kind of color scheme in here. So I used some more of those Cloud9 countertops. I think the toilet is from the mid-century set, I want to say. And then the tub is like from one of the Animal Abound sets. I ended up using the frog mirror in here too, which I thought was kind of cute. Oh, and I also ended up using these Bayside lights. I don't think I've ever used those, y'all. They come from like the Bayside bathroom set. I never used those, so I had to use them in here. And then I kind of wanted to make this little nook space into a little reading area. So I put up a bookshelf, and I also put up that little bulky chair from the Sims 3 store, and then I ended up using the rug from the University pack. I felt like this was a really good use of space, you know, like, I don't know, I kind of like this little reading nook area. I feel like sometimes she invites her brother up here to come read and hang out, because I feel like she kind of gets lonely up here, you know. And maybe she reached to her like little sibling, you know, little toddler maybe. But that's pretty much everything for this little section. And moving on, this is her bedroom. So I used this bed, it's from one of the animal sets on the Sims 3 store. I paired it up with some objects from University and from Generation. This room is kind of like a blue and purpley as well. I kind of like that color scheme for here. Also too, y'all, I forgot, like when I finished recording, that I forgot to furnish one of the bathrooms downstairs. So I feel like that bathroom was probably like more so on the normal side, you know. So for that one, I kind of went with a blue and white color scheme. I used the shower from the Generations pack. I think I also used the Bayside toilet down there as well. But that's pretty much it, y'all, for the entire build. So if you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below. Follow me on Twitch where I stream a lot more of The Sims, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching!